Okay, let's unpack this right away. We have just walked out of Scott Wise's Lunch and Learn, and honestly, my brain is buzzing.
Yeah, that was not your standard corporate presentation.
Not at all. I mean, you go into those things expecting, a slightly dry turkey sandwich.
Yeah.
Some buzzwords about synergy.
And a sales pitch. Always a sales pitch for some software you don't need.
Right, but this was something else. It felt less like a tech demo and more like a philosophy class on the future of work.
But a really practical one. Grounded is the word that comes to mind.
Yep.
It wasn't that breathless AI is going to save the world hype.
No. And it also wasn't the robots are coming for your job. Doomerism either.
It was just incredibly practical.
And I think we need to set the stage on who Scott Wise actually is, because that context is, it's everything here.
For sure. This isn't just some tech evangelist.
No, this guy's a heavyweight. We're talking 30 years as a management consultant. He's been in the trenches with Fortune 500 CFOs.
Yeah. He wrote actionable profitability analytics. I mean, that tells you he gets how businesses actually work.
Exactly. But then he pivots. Now he's got AI certifications from MIT and Oxford.
Yeah.
So you get this really rare mix of old school business strategy and, cutting edge AI.
And that's why his whole argument just hits so hard. He sees this massive problem.
The core conflict. That was the slide that really grabbed me right at the start.
The huge gap between the AI hype and the AI reality.
It's so true. You see the headlines, right? $1 trillion opportunities, massive investment. It feels like a gold rush.
But then he shows you what's happening on the ground.
Minimal ROI, pilots that just fizzle out. It's like everyone bought a Formula One car.
And they're using it to get the mail. They have no idea how to actually drive it.
And Scott's big aha moment, the thesis of the whole thing, is that this is not a technology problem.
No, he was so clear on that. It is a leadership challenge, full stop.
If your AI projects are failing, it's not the software. It's the people. It's the human transition.
Which is what we're going to break down.
Right. So our mission today is simple. We're going to debrief this for everyone who missed it. We'll unpack the human advantage and the 3 pillars from his book, AI for Leaders.
Basically, you get the highlights of the AI for Leaders journey without having to eat the catered sandwiches.
Which were pretty good, to be fair.
The content was better.
Okay, let's start with that reality check. He told that story about the Gartner CFO conference.
Curiosity, confusion, and a CFO conference changed everything. That was the quote.
Yeah, he went there thinking he'd get all these deep technical finance questions.
And instead, all they asked about was people. It wasn't, how did the algorithm work? It was,
how do I get my team to actually use this thing?
Exactly. My team is scared. They're confused. He realized the real problem wasn't the code, it was the culture.
And then he dropped that statistic. 70%.
Yeah, it's a huge number.
70% of AI implementation challenges are about people, culture, and change management.
Only 30% is the actual tech. But look at where all the money is going. That BCG investment model he showed was...
Wow. It was so revealing. So in a successful project, 10% of the investment is the AI tech itself.
Just 10%, which is, what gets all the headlines.
Right. Then 20% is for data and infrastructure, cleaning up your house.
And the other 70%? People and process. Training, redesigning workflows, all the human stuff.
But companies are doing the exact opposite. They're pouring all their cash into the shiny 10%.
And they're completely ignoring the 70%, which leads to what he called a labor leverage collapse.
I loved that phrase. Let's unpack that.
It's when you give someone a tool that should make them 100 times more productive, but because you haven't taught them how to use it, productivity just flatlines.
Or even goes down. You've just added complexity without adding any real capability.
Precisely. And that ties into his point about the 3 layers of intelligence.
Oh, this is so important for anyone thinking, I have an enterprise license, so I'm all set.
Right. He said first there's global intelligence. That's the model, like GPT-4. It knows everything on the public internet.
But so does your competitor. It's not an advantage. It's just table stakes.
Exactly. To create value, you have to add institutional knowledge. That's your company's private data, your files. And then the final, most important layer.
Personal knowledge.
Your expertise, your judgment, your intuition, the human element.
It was so reassuring to hear that. The AI doesn't have your experience. Without you, it just spits out generic answers.
Which brings us to the 3 pillars. The core of his framework. Pillar 1 was amplification.
Amplification over automation. This was a huge mindset shift. I think most people hear AI and they just immediately think automation.
Replacing jobs, doing things faster, all about efficiency.
Yeah, AI finishes my tasks. But Scott's point is that amplification is about enhancing expertise. It's AI extends my ideas.
He used the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, to explain it, which I thought was just brilliant.
It makes it so clear. So like 20% of a leader's work creates 80% of their actual impact.
Right, the high-level strategic thinking, the creative stuff.
And the other 80% is just the drudgery. Admin tasks, scheduling, all that noise.
Automation is great for that 80%. Get rid of it. But the real magic happens when you apply AI to that top 20%.
To make your best work even better.
It's the difference between saying, AI, write this email, and AI, act as a thinking partner and help me poke holes in this strategy.
The thinking partner. Yes. Stop treating it like a glorified search engine. Treat it like a collaborator.
And when you do that, the value shifts from the technologist to the domain expert. You don't need to learn to code. You need to learn how to apply your wisdom through the tool.
But you can't do that if your team is afraid of it.
And that is pillar 2, acceptance.
The cultural hurdle. He said resistance isn't technical, it's emotional.
It's pure psychology. People aren't scared of complex software. They're scared for their jobs. They're scared of looking foolish.
And leaders try to fix that with mandates. Everyone will use AI by Q3.
Which never works. He said adoption grows through a ripple of trust, not through policy. Modeling over mandates.
I love that phrase, a ripple of trust.
It means the leader has to go first. If the boss isn't using it openly and visibly, nobody else will.
You have to be the one showing your work. Hey, I used AI to help me brainstorm this.
And you have to give people time to tinker. You can't just throw a new tool at them on top of their already packed schedule and expect miracles.
You have to create psychological safety, space to experiment and fail a little bit.
That's the bridge from being AI curious to AI capable.
But once you're capable, you hit the most critical part.
Pillar 3, accountability.
AI can scale information, but only humans can scale integrity. I mean, come on, that's a t-shirt right there.
It's so powerful. AI generates volume, but it does it without validation.
It creates an illusion of certainty. Just because it sounds confident doesn't mean it's true.
Not at all. And so our role shifts. We're not the writer of the first draft anymore. We are the final filter. Our job becomes discernment.
Checking for accuracy, for alignment, for authenticity.
The risk if you don't. It's huge. You erode all credibility. Your decision quality just collapses.
But the return, he said, is trust equity. That was interesting.
It's counterintuitive. He argues that if you're transparent about using AI and you stand behind the final output because you've checked it, people trust you more, not less.
Because you're being honest about your process.
Exactly. Humans remain the conscience of AI. You own the outcomes, not the algorithm. If it goes wrong, that's on you.
Okay, so amplification, acceptance, accountability. Then he got really practical, the how-to part.
Using AI as a contextual collaborator.
This is where everyone's phone came out to take pictures of the slide.
Yeah.
Because we've all typed, write a blog post about X and gotten garbage back.
Because that's treating it like a vending machine. You have to treat it like a colleague.
He gave us that specific prompt structure. It starts with, act as my collaborator.
Or act as a chief strategy officer. You give it a role, then you give it context. I'm working on this project for this client.
And then this is key. You give it a workflow. First, brainstorm ideas, then analyze the pros and cons, then suggest a framework.
That work with me phrasing is everything. It's a conversation, not a command.
And you have to feed it artifacts, he said. Give it your past work, your voice guides.
Right. You have to give it substance so it doesn't just default to the most generic, average answer from the internet.
So he wrapped it all up by saying this lunch session was just the start. It's moving from curiosity to capability.
And that takes work. It's a journey, not a seminar.
He mentioned a few of his programs, Toolbox Tuesdays, which are weekly skill sessions.
5 Fridays coaching, and then that big 12-week corporate adoption program for whole teams.
It's clear he's built a whole system around this at ScottWise.ai. It's not just a book.
Well, it makes sense. If 70% of the problem is culture, you can't fix that in an hour. You need a process.
So if you had to boil it down, what's the one big takeaway for you?
That the future of leadership is about combining human insight with machine intelligence. It's not one versus the other. It's both. And you do that through amplification, acceptance, and accountability.
For me, it was the relief, the feeling that I don't have to become a programmer. I just have to be a leader who's curious and willing to model the way.
And willing to be accountable.
Exactly. So, look, if you're listening and this resonates, you should really go to ScottWise.ai.
Yeah, you can get the presentation deck there and learn about the workshops.
Highly recommend it. That prompt structure alone is worth it.
Total game changer.
Before we go, I want to leave everyone with the question he left us with. It was on his last slide, and it really it made me stop and think.
It's a good one.
Where could AI amplify your expertise most effectively right now? And what is the one fear holding you back from letting it?
That's the question, isn't it?
Something to think about. Thanks for diving in with us today.
See you next time.